Hello and welcome to FTB Sports. This is the Tottenham Hotspur Preview Show. I am Sam Spurs for life, and I'm joined by some very special guests today discussing the game versus West Ham, which kicks off tomorrow, 12 p.m. As usual, we have Mike, we have Darius, and we're joined by some very special guests. From the Tottenham side, we have Holly, and we also have Frankie from Claret and Blue Army TV. Welcome all. How are we doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks.
Really
Cheers
good.
for inviting me on.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I would say this is one of our biggest games of the season. Given the situation that we've had in the recent few months as a Spurs fans, it's been a bit traumatic, shall we say, up and down, ins and outs. Yeah, so generally, I think this is a game that is a must-win for Spurs. I'm not looking at anything other than that. I know it's at the London Hotspur Stadium, the London Stadium, Olympic Stadium, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I'm looking for Spurs to go out and win this game. So we'll start with, I guess, the guest from the opposition. How do you think, Frankie, how do you think your league season is going so far as a Hammer?
It's quite unbelievable, to be honest. I said on... so we were Claret and Blue Army TV, by the way, just as a quick plug. We've changed the channel. We're now Isla's Army. So we've changed that because we've got a young West Ham fan, a young girl who's 6 years old, who's fighting cancer at the moment. She's not doing particularly well. So we rebranded the channel to Isla's Army. We had a pound for Isla Day yesterday. We raised £17,000 doing that.
Wow.
And now we're over £20,000 for the month. And we're really trying to raise the funds to get her abroad. So we've had some great people come on. We've had Rory Jennings come on. We've had Flav yesterday, one of your boys. So he come on and
really
done
like
a video with us. So we're just trying to raise as much awareness as possible for Isla. So it's at Isla's Army on Twitter. And if anyone can, you know, just retweet, share, just get involved. That would be massively appreciated.
Cool.
Yeah, I said at the beginning of this season, the only one certainty that you have with David Moyes being your manager for a full season is relegation. And we are now where we are. So it's unbelievable. Never saw it coming. I don't think many of us did.
You never saw it coming. God.
No.
I had bets out there about being above West Ham, and I was almost going to give handicaps out, but I've took that bet back quickly.
And that's what you would have expected. It's come out of absolutely nowhere. The biggest change for us really has been in recent seasons, we've been unfit. We've not had a real committed team. We've had a lot of sort of foreign journeymen who have come in and not been committed to the calls, like Felipe Anderson, who's now gone out on loan, and Sebastian Haller, and those types of players who come in and didn't really get what it means to be West Ham and have that sort of 100% commitment level. And now we've got every single player on that pitch who is 100% committed to the calls. We've got our Czech players who've come in Surček and Soufal, and the engines that these boys have got, they don't stop running.
Phenomenal
It's
player.
Unbelievable. So that's what's made the biggest difference for us, really. We don't really play attractive football. We don't, you know, I'm not sitting there in awe of what I'm watching. It's not like the Joe Cole and Di Canio eras and things like that, but it's effective. And we've just got this 100% work rate, never give up kind of attitude. And you see us go behind. And in the old days, West Ham would have completely crumbled. And now we just don't stop playing, and if we go 1-0 down, within no time at all we're back level again and we're kicking on. So it's a massive change. All of the stereotypical things that happen to West Ham as a team have completely turned around this year, and we're just waiting for it. Every week you're waiting for it to go wrong, and it never happens. So we've got a lot of fans who are quietly confident about the weekend. I wish we were on the other side. I like going to Tottenham, being the underdog, wanting to pull something magical out the hat, doing the unexpected, and we're so good at that. To now be sort of, you know, above you in the league and going into this game, probably, well, we are. We have the better form. We're the in-form side.
100%.
That scares me a little bit. In these typical big games, David Moyes has been playing with sticking every man behind the ball. When we play our football, we play some good stuff. When he played against Liverpool the other week, when we stuck every man behind the ball and he was almost scared of them, it takes so much out of our game. He says to Surchek and Rice, don't go past the halfway line. Sit deep, be disciplined. And it takes so much away from them players. So I just really hope that he doesn't do that on Sunday, because if he does, with Kane and Son up front, you expect them to be able to unlock the door. So, yeah. But I'm looking forward to it. So,
well, I'm going to actually put this league table up just to show you where you guys are. And I don't know what you're lot doing for nosebleeds, but you're at that sort of height at the moment. I just cannot believe it. So altitude sickness and all, I'm not only taking the mic because, you know what I mean, as a person, we can't really say nothing. But as you can see, this to me looks like it's going to be potentially, as they say, a 6-pointer. You guys win this game, you're gone clear of us, and I don't think we're catching you. We have to win this game to be 3 points behind. So, Holly, I'll come to you. What do we need to do as the team to get the 3 points tomorrow?
It's a good question, isn't it, really? Because we've tried all sorts and nothing really is working. We've tried attacking football and it's come to haunt us. We've tried to sit behind the ball and it's come to haunt us. So I think going off of our midweek game against Wolfsburg, the fact that we just went out there all guns blazing and tried to get the job done, I think West Ham are definitely going to be up for this game. Like we've touched on, form is high flying. Our form in the Prem is kind of dipping. And I think in order to try and get a result against West Ham, I feel like we've got to somehow try and sort out this defence. And I think the fact that Højbjerg was rested in the week as well is a good bonus, because I think at the moment his back is breaking trying to carry that defence. So fingers crossed come against West Ham. It's got to be one of those. Like you said, it's funny to say that this is potentially West Ham's cup final. And I don't really like that saying, but it is, because they will go out because their form's amazing. So
don't you think this is our cup final as well, though? Given the fact of just showing that league table, being 6 points behind Hammers, lose this game, and that's the bragging rights for them for another 5 years at least. But I think it's going to be, like I said, for me, this is a must-win game. So do you not see this as Jose having to go out and attack?
I'd like to say yes, because we've seen that if we do sit back and get one goal in front and then just carry on sitting, it does come to haunt us. And we saw that against West Ham at the start of the season. We played well, then managed to step off the gas, and they came back and drew 3-3. So for me, I feel like this is one Jose has to go out and prove, because the Premier League form is just dropping. And like you said, it is true. This is our cup final as well, shall we say, because it is, I feel, make or break. This is probably one of the biggest games of the season for us.
Okay.
Can I just say something on that quickly? 1 second. This cup final thing, I don't know where it come from. Do you know what it is? It's not a cup final. It's a London derby. Where is this London derby thing gone? Because it matters. It's not a cup final. People
100%.
throw that around all the time. It's a London derby, and to us all, it should matter massively. As much to Tottenham, as much whether you're playing Arsenal, Chelsea, whoever it is, London derbies have always been special. And I think we've lost a little bit of that lately, and we need a bit of that bite back.
Yeah, do you not think that the situation, obviously, with the no fans being in the stadium, because I think that really played a massive part in the 3-3 draw. Let's go to this clip that Jose mentioned about that, just reflecting on that game itself.
You know, the first game against West Ham is a little bit the reflection of our season and the reflection of some of our problems.
So I'll come to you, Mike, on that one. Jose's talking about that game, and I think that was almost a catalyst for him realising that our defence was as shocking as it has been pretty much from that point onwards. I don't think we've been strong enough defensively. I think there's been a lot of individual errors in there. But how do you see this game panning out as opposed to the last one? Do you think it's going to be a lot more closer in terms of opportunities, goals, etc.?
Yeah, I can't see it being a 6-goal thriller. I think both teams will be quite reserved, because neither team will want to lose, given what it means to both teams for where they'll finish, where they'll sort of progress to in the league. And as I say, if West Ham win, that's a 6-pointer for them. If we win, we get another 3 points plus a game in hand, and all of a sudden the pressure's on West Ham, the teams around them, to get the points to sort of get that gap again. But yeah, I certainly for the first 45 minutes, I think it's going to be a very, very tight affair. I really don't see it being a high-scoring game at all. I don't think Moyes is going to set up to be open against us. I think he'll keep it quite and naturally so you'd keep it quite tight, especially when you've got the likes of Son, Kane, and if Bale is coming into form, you can't write him off. So if that's if he plays, but yeah, I think it's going to be a very tight affair.
Darius, I'm going to come to you just for your view, mainly about the lineups, because I think that's going to be very important come tomorrow, how both teams are going to start. I know that, and Frankie, you might be able to give me a bit more because I've not really watched a lot of the games recently. But in terms of the formation for West Ham, are they playing three at the back? Is it four at the back? Is it a combination of, depending on the opposition?
We'd changed to 4 at the back for a while, and we had to move to 5 at the back at the beginning of the season because we were leaking goals. So we went to 5 at the back. It was working. We then had the injury to Masuaku, and we felt like we couldn't play 5 at the back anymore. So we changed to 4 at the back, and actually it worked. We were still keeping clean sheets, still keeping people out, and that was good. The first time we'd seen it in months was last week. We actually went back to a 5 in the back again. I actually think we can play both ways. The thing that I liked about the last game that we had was that we played the 5 at the back and we didn't have Antonio. That worried me before, but actually we weren't so one-dimensional. We weren't just looking for the Antonio ball. It actually made us more creative, actually made us play a better style of football. So while losing Antonio is normally the scary thing, and then we have to change our whole system, well, now with Jesse Lingard and Bowen, and we've got Ben Rama available to us and those types of players, actually it isn't the be-all and end-all if we've got Antonio or not anymore.
So, right, I'll come back to Darius because, sorry, I didn't get your thoughts about the actual starting lineup as well, in terms of who you think Jose is going to be playing in the team tomorrow.
Yeah, I was just going to say on West Ham, I think Frankie, I think West Ham are where they are because of the quality of the team and the improvements that you've made over the summer. I think when you look at the 11 that they played against, I'm looking at the Fulham game just because the 3 at the back, like you said, it hasn't been as common as usual, but with players like Souček and Rice as your 2 midfield pivots, and you've got Ben Rama, Lingard, Bowen, and Antonio. That's for me. That's a team competing with teams up there in the table. So,
Darius, continue. I'm just going to put up on the screen just the last 2 lineups from both teams. So this is how they lined up for the games that they played.
I don't think they're going to go for that 3-4-2-1. I think it will be a 4-2-3-1 on both sides. I think you've got Cresswell who plays as the left back. I think Soufal's had a fantastic season. He's been one of the best right backs for me in the league. Souček and Rice have been unbelievable. So this is a really good team that we're playing against. I think the players that he rested on Wednesday or Thursday, should I say, in Højbjerg, in Kane, will definitely come in. It's going to be a midfield battle. I think whoever wins that battle in the midfield will come out on top. It's Souček and Rice versus Ndombele and Højbjerg. The players in the 10 are going to drift. They're going to be contributing more to the attack than the defense, I think. So that midfield battle between those 4 players, I think, is going to be a really, really key in who actually takes control of this game, more so to say. So I expect both teams to kind of come at this a little bit more. I know some of us said that it might be a bit closer. I'm kind of expecting both teams to kind of go out and prove something. I know West Ham are in 5th place. They're 6 points ahead of us. If they can go out and beat us, like you said, 9 points is going to be a difficult.
I think it's done.
It's going to be a difficult gap.
I think it's done back, personally. So,
yeah, I think if I was David Moyes, I would go for it. And if I was Jose Mourinho, I think Holly made a great point. I think it is just as big a game for us as well. We've not been good in the league at all, and we need to start putting points on the board because teams below us are slowly. Wolves are getting their form back. They won. Arsenal, again, don't want to talk about it, but they were about 9-10 points away from us. So I understand that we have other priorities in our season, in the trophies, and I know we want to go out and win a trophy and potentially win that Europa League and get to the Champions League, but it's still very close in the league. And these games are, for me, West Ham, especially this season, after what, like I said in the post-match against Wolfsburg, West Ham, for me, is a massive game for this season, especially what happened with the 3-3. That can't happen again. And that really did bring a lot of what was positive about Spurs to a halt. I think that first half against West Ham was one of the best performances of the season. That first half, I thought we were absolutely fantastic. So I think that we need to kind of bring the same energy. I know that we might be a bit cautious, but I don't really see the reason to be. I think we should bring that energy with West Ham, and if they want to do the same, then there'll be gaps. There'll be gaps to exploit. And if they do want to defend, like I said, we should be able to control the game and have enough chances with our front front two who are just obviously on the form of their lives to kind of break down that defense. So yeah, I think we should go. I think we should really go for it. I think 4-2-3-1 on both sides will be what they play.
Holly, from this lineup, who do you honestly see playing tomorrow? From the Spurs, more likely than West Ham.
It's a tough one. I feel like Jose has a thing with Lamela at the moment in terms of the guy that kind of brings the fight and the energy. But I also feel in recent times he's a bit of a loose cannon. So I feel like Lamela might drop out and maybe we'll see Bale or maybe we'll see Dele. I mean, we haven't really highlighted much on the Wolfsburg game because, in all fairness, they weren't great opposition. But those two players did play out their skin, and I thought it was quite nice to see Bale actually prove something. So maybe we'll see Bale instead of Lamela and maybe Dele instead of Lucas. But again, it's a tough one to try and find that balance. I think the defence is probably maybe the hardest thing to try and grasp at the moment because nobody really knows what the combination is going to be. So I think obviously we saw Toby play against Wolfsburg, so I don't know whether he'll be in the side again. But again, it is very tricky to try and pin it down on that defence because I feel like that is our weak spot at the moment. So
it's been shocking though. I think that defence has been absolutely, we can't find a pairing at the centre back. We've had the injuries obviously to Reguilon. Aurier again is a bit of a doubt for this game. So we're kind of struggling in all areas defensive. The keeper's been making mistakes recently as well. I know we played Wolfsburger and there was only one goal, but again, the goal came from another mistake from Sissoko. Penalty, gives away 3-0. Like, we don't need to be given any sort of opportunity. The West Ham's not the team you want to be giving opportunities to. Do you know?
Agreed. Yeah, agree with that. Is Reguilon fit?
No.
Apparently Reguilon isn't fit. Whether or not Jose's doing his old Jose thing, but again, I don't know whether or not he's going to be playing tomorrow. Aurier again is a bit of a doubt, so I'm not sure what's going to be happening with him as well. It's going to be a tough one. It really is going to be a tough one. So I'm just going to play you a clip from Davy Moyes as well, because he's talking about the goals and where the goals potentially are going to be coming from a West Ham perspective.
We needed a few goals from other areas, but I think Declan getting a goal from a penalty kick and Ryan Fredericks and he said the knock from a header. It's good. I think the goals getting spread around the team's a good thing, but also would like to have someone who was getting certainly 15 or 20 goals if we could have one of them as well. Thanks.
Who's the danger man? Who do we have to look out for, Frankie, tomorrow?
It's hard because our biggest weakness at the moment isn't going forward. It should be because Antonio, the doubt around him, and let's be quite honest, he was a right back for us, then a right winger. He's not an out-and-out forward anyway. I know he's grown into that position and he's doing very well there. But in the last couple of games, he has started up front. He has been misfiring. And that's always going to happen. That happens to the best strikers in the world, let alone a right winger now makeshift centre forward. So the fact that we don't have the out and out goal threat, it should play into your hands a little bit. And then we're missing Ogbonna. The reason why we went to the 5 at the back in the last game is because Ogbonna wasn't there, and I think we didn't have the confidence in the Diop and Dawson central two. That means we've got Cresswell in there, who's a left back playing centre back. We've then got Dawson and Diop, and both of those have got mistakes in them. Even against Sheffield, and I know it looks good, 3-0 on the surface, and we're up in 5th. That looks fantastic. We did control that game, but they had chance after chance after chance that they squandered. If you give those chances that they had to Kane, we're going to get punished. So I think your best chance of beating us is not doing what Jose's been doing, and he's trying to put it on us, because those two at the back, they've got mistakes in them. So in terms of the threat, where the threats come from, Bowen's a great player. His work rate is phenomenal. He's got pace, but he does a lot of defensive work. We had one of our channels that produced some stats on him recently, and he actually does more work in his own half than he does going forward. So I think that takes a little bit of his threat away. But if he does get in front of goal, he can punish you. Lingard has been a revelation. He has been outstanding. I was well confused by that loan move. I didn't really understand it.
Messi, Jesse. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's posting pictures, and I thought the Instagram thing was gone. And then all of a sudden, he's on Instagram taking pictures of his Goyard bag, his Louis Vuitton bag. I'm on my way to London, and it was like, oh, here we go, he's still here. And so I thought he's just going to come down for a jolly up in London, and that would be it. But he hasn't. He's hit the ground running, and actually, he's made everybody else in the team better because he's positive. He goes forward, and when he plays, he looks another level above everybody else. He's 3-4 steps ahead of the game compared to everyone else on the pitch. So he's been great. I was surprised Ben Rama was dropped. I thought Ben Rama, he has got a massive threat to him as well, but he played a couple of games for us and then Moyes dropped him and he said, you've got to work more. I don't want you trying to force the passes. I don't want you giving the ball away. We've actually kind of shackled him to a position where that little magician that you used to have, who used to try these great things and pop up and score amazing goals, that's been taken out of his game. And that's the one negative I've had recently is what we've done to Ben Rama and how we've suppressed him from being the player that we all know he can be. So I think you'll see Lanzini again, which I don't have a problem with because he loves playing against you. So that could be where the threat comes from.
Lanzini, that's a nightmare.
I think it's really interesting just hearing you speak, Frankie, because it seems like, and I know obviously you can't say that things are going bad at West Ham because you're 5th place at the moment, but it just seems like the issues that you have, or the small issues that are with your team, are very similar to Spurs in the sense that we have wingers who I think have got a lot of quality that aren't really being allowed to show that quality in Bergwijn. And I think that we can do more with that team that we've got, even though Jose is, we can say how well Jose is doing and not we're in a final, whatever. I think there's more to come out of our squad, and the quality of our squad is improved. Like with West Ham, where our manager might, like you said, be holding back a few players, and if he was to just kind of let those handbrakes off, you might see a little bit more. You might see that next level that David Moyes was speaking about in his press conference, because I think that both teams can reach another level. I think there's enough quality in both teams for us to be both competing for European and even Champions League spots. So
how do you see the game tomorrow going in terms of a team in control? Because if I'm honest with you, both these managers may approach the game in a very similar format, you know, maybe looking to play off the counter, you know, respecting the opposition, respecting each of the managers. Jose obviously is aware that, you know, David Moyes has taken this West Ham team to phenomenal. I say phenomenal heights. It's certainly heights which I don't think that
really impressive.
They weren't expecting
last season, though. Yeah,
expecting at the beginning of the season, and therefore the game tomorrow, is it going to be about both managers or both teams sitting off and then maybe playing off the counter? Is it about one team deciding to really go for it? I don't really know at this moment in time. I don't know if anybody's got any thoughts from that perspective, Spurs wise.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? I honestly don't know how he's going to approach this, because there is 2 ways you could go. He could either do the counter-attacking, or he could just play on the front foot and take the game to West Ham. But again, if we take the game to West Ham, we know again, it depends on who we have in that back line, but we can be vulnerable to being counter-attacked ourselves. So I think he'll go 4-2-3-1 like Darius said. I think we're far better balanced with that formation and that lineup. I think that the majority of the team picks itself. It's just who fits in that number 10 and who fits on the right, and obviously who slots in the centre back. But in terms of how I see this game sort of planning out for Tottenham, I just don't know. I honestly don't know how he's gonna do it. And
just got to win it. For me, I look at all the performances that we've had this season, some good, and a majority at the moment have been a bit sterile, and it's been functional, taking aside some of the Europa League clashes. I just don't know. This question is for Frankie, but I'm going to ask Collie first, and I'm looking at it from a Spurs perspective. So the question is from Adam Morris. Frankie, given where you are in the league now, what are your expectations for the rest of the season? I'm just going to flip that initially and ask Collie, what do you think our expectations as Spurs should be for the rest of this season?
Well, I'd like to say top 4, but I think that's kind of gone with the win now. I mean, my expectation is at least the cup, and I think the one thing that's possibly going to save our season, I think, is Europa League, to win that, because it gives us automatic qualification into UCL. And to be honest with you, I think that's what Daniel Levy wants. Obviously, I think that's what we expect as well, because the standard of our stadium, the money we've invested, it's got to be done. And I feel that's got to be my expectations. Obviously, the Carabao Cup would be lovely, but obviously City are high flying as well. So for me, I think the real thing is to go win that Europa League. I know there's a lot of strong teams in there as well, but for me, it's got to be done. I think that's what we need to head for.
100%, 100%. So as the original question was posed for you, Frankie, I'm going to ask you that. As West Ham.
Ninth would do me. Which is crazy to say, but it genuinely will.
What?
I mean, it is.
Are you mad? No, you can't be set that. Not after what 21 games now. No chance.
Do you think you'll drop? Do you think you'll actually drop that?
Yes.
That far down the league from where you are now?
We are one injury away from a disaster, and I mean a disaster. Our squad depth is so fragile. If Souček, Rice got injured, we literally would crumble. And
can I ask about the Haller transfer, by the way? Was there anything behind that? Because when I saw that, I was just thinking, even if he wasn't playing and didn't want to play, like if Antonio, who's known to be injury prone, gets injured, what's going to happen to your...
This is how frustration it is with our board, and this is why we get so upset. And I don't want to go on a board rant right now, because that's not for your channel, that's for me to do over on our place. But, you know, had Sebastian Haller didn't take to the Premier League, we isolated him, we played him up front on his own. When he was playing at Frankfurt, he used to play in a front three. So, and he had players really close to him. In terms of his technical ability with a ball at his feet, he's great. The problem with Sebastian Haller is, because he's so tall, everyone thinks he's a target man. He isn't. He hates to play in that way. He doesn't like to put himself about and hold the ball up. So we played him in a way that he just really doesn't like. He likes to play, actually, more as a number 10. If he was in a typical team like a Liverpool at the moment that played that Firmino role, he would thrive, and he would be, you know, he would come into his own. But the way we tried to play him as a standalone target man, it didn't work. He come out after he left and said that he knew he was signing for Ajax for the previous 3 months. So it was signed, sealed and delivered. The fact that we didn't have lined up a replacement striker for the second that window opened was an absolute tragedy. And you can understand if David Moyes wasn't performing and his contract runs out at the end of the season, so you don't want to give him the budget. But where we was in the table, if the board had any ambition whatsoever to be in the position we was in, knowing that money was going to come into the club, to be fair, we were still paying Sebastian Haller's deal off, and actually we didn't end up any profit from it. But if they had any ambition, they would have brought in a striker and tried to help us kick our season on. The fact that they didn't just shows that Premier League survival is all that they expect, and that will be David Moyes' communication from above. They will be saying to David Moyes, our job is done. They do not want European qualification. Every time we do get it, we go out in the qualification stages anyway, whether it be to Astragulu and whether it be to Steaua Bucharest or whoever it is. We don't want it, and we will throw it again. They don't want that European football. All they're interested in is Premiership survival, because that protects their investment and protects their asset as a football club, because to them it is cash in when the time's right. If they can own that London stadium, that is the primest real estate in London at the moment, and that club will be worth the £600 million they want, and someone will come in and buy it. If they got relegated, that wouldn't be the case. So that is their ambition. That will be the ambition for the team, and that is all we can actually expect, which is a proper shame, because we got the opportunity to go and do something big for probably the biggest thing that we could have done in the last decade, and that's try and have a real push at properly qualified European football.
And the money's there as well.
The money, but with the squad depth that we've got, if we did get it, we're not ready anyway. We're just not ready. One thing on that, though, with you guys, I watched All or Nothing. I used to detest Spurs, and I mean detest them with every bit of my body. I hated everything that Tottenham was and stood for. I watched All or Nothing, and I've got to be honest, what you've achieved as a football club and what you've built and the infrastructure is so unfortunate that the pandemic come along, because you had the perfect model to kick on as a football club to the next level, and that stadium would have been earning you fortunes right now, and you would have been going into transfer windows with buckets of money, and that's what's held you back. But I believe in the Mourinho process, and whether you guys do or not, and I know it's a big thing, I genuinely feel that given enough time, he will get it right. And I watched that program. I saw the training ground you've got, the staff levels, you've got everything around it, and you sit and I know it was a bit of PR, that whole program.
Oh, massively.
But there were bits of it that I was just in awe of, and I would give anything to have what you guys have got, because you've got a proper football club there, with everything right from the core of it all the way through. And absolute admiration for your football club, mate. And I actually wish you all the best, because you've done it in the right way.
Hold on a minute, this is getting a bit too far here, Frankie. This is it's not a loving. We can't do a loving with West Ham fans. I'm sorry about this.
It's just true. It's just true, mate. It's just true, and that is how I feel with it.
No, I agree with you on a lot of the stuff about that the PR exercise that the All or Nothing proved. What it did show is for me as a Spurs fan, you know, it's about success at the moment. We've had this nice, lovely football. We've got to also look at the fact that people are split in terms of, do ENIC put in enough money? Do they spend enough money on the club? We've just got probably the best stadium in the world. It's going to be costing upwards of £1 billion. We've got one of the best training facilities in the world. Again, all built from being with ENIC, you know. And yeah, we've made mistakes. We've made mistakes in the transfer window. We've made mistakes with managers. We built a bit of a foundation with Poch. That then came to a bit of a halt. Again, maybe that the investment wasn't there, but I don't know what we was expecting. I don't expect us to then be going out and splashing 70, 80, 90 million on players each and every season, because that's just not how Spurs do it. What we need to be able to do is develop internally a lot of the stuff. And as you said, once we get these naming rights and the rest of that coming through, you know, there will be money available. But times are difficult now as it is. A lot of the numbers coming out of the club and, you know, in the press suggest that there's a lot of debt around. We're just going to have to work through this, but there are ways about going, you know, I look at the likes of, you know, yourselves as West Ham, you're finding gems like Suchek, you know, he's just come out, for me, he's come out of nowhere and is one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. So, you know, there are things out there that you can do. You just got to be very cute in how you go about doing it. But I'm one of the ones who I'm supporting the board at this moment in time. So yeah, I just, at the end of the season, we need to have won a trophy. I don't want to go into next season without that for Jose, because I think the pressure will be too much, and I don't think the fans will probably have it. Is Jose? I don't want to ask if you're Jose in, Jose out, Holly, but how do you think it's going with the actual management at the moment?
To be honest with you, I know you don't want to ask me, but right now I'm gonna have to say I'm Jose in, because the season isn't finished yet. That's the thing that's really irritating me, and for me it's annoying that the fan base is split. I mean, it's all about opinions, but for me, the man has done it, been there, done it, got the T-shirt in terms of trophies, and that's what 100%. We lack. Yeah. So for me to say right now, after we spent 5 years of Pochettino, don't get me wrong, I think there's lots of reasons to why he didn't succeed. But if we sat there for 5 years and didn't win anything, why are we saying for a man that's done it all to get rid now? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So for me, there's things that I'm a bit annoyed with him in terms of subs, in terms of who's starting where, in terms of playing Dyer more times than I've had hot dinners, which infuriates me. But in terms of sitting there for the long run, I think we have to do it, because we don't have a right to sit here and to say to him, get lost, because we haven't won anything in so long. So do
you think Sanchez has woke up after last week at City? Is he still on the floor?
No, he's still having a nap, I think. It's things like that irritates me. And going back to just like touching on the board, like the thing with the board is, like, I get it, we can't go out and spend big money, but the fact that we've spent lots of money on mediocre is what frustrates me. Bale's money, obviously, when he left, was the big problem for me. To think that we've now only got one player left, and that's Lamela. And for me, I don't think Lamela's the quality that we need. I mean, I think his passion's there, but again, it frustrates me that the board will rather spend safe than spend big and potentially that one player transform our team. That's the problem for me. But yeah, in terms of Jose, I think we just got to stick at it, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I've enjoyed this loving, but this is the real part of this show where we get to really find out what we're going to say, and it's the score predictions. So I'm going to start. I don't know where to start. I think I'll have to leave Frankie till last, because he's the favourite. So I'm going to leave him till last. I'm going to start with you then, Mike. What's your score predictions for tomorrow? Yeah, I'm going to go with you first on this. The pressure.
What am I going to go with? I think I'm going 2-1 Spurs. Because and it all depends on who we have in that back line. If I see Sanchez there, well, I won't watch the game if Sanchez is playing. I promise you now. I will not watch
You have
the
to,
game.
because you've got to do the reaction show, so you've got to watch it anyway.
If Sanchez is playing, that's it, game over. You might as well just give the 3 points to West Ham. I'm going to go with 2-1 though. Hopefully, Dyer and Toby will play. That will start. Yeah, if those two start, then I think we'll be all right, and I think we can grind out a 2-1 win. I think it'll be a tight game.
Good.
So I'm going to put my neck on the line here. I'm going to don't play Sanchez. Christ. So yeah, 2-1.
2-1 from Mike. Darius.
I was going to agree with you, but we've had this conversation, and do you know when you just like you keep talking about something and you get that flashback? I just get flashbacks of that 3-3 happening, and I can't because what Frankie said, it's a London derby at the end of the day. Like, even if there was nothing on the line, even if Spurs were coasting in fifth and West Ham were a little bit lower, even if there was nothing to play for both teams, it's still a London derby. So this is going to sound bad, but I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to go 2-2 because I haven't seen enough from our centre-backs to give me any confidence that we're going to be able to keep a lead. I think we'll be able to score a couple goals, but I'm going to go 2-2 just because of the derby and the fact that West Ham have to if West Ham get a point, I think that's a good result for them because it'll still keep them.
I think so.
Yeah, it will still keep them. Obviously, 3 points is very important in this league, but a point will keep you going. It will keep you on track. If you don't lose, you're not going to lose that confidence. So I think 2-2 will be, for me, the most realistic result, I'm going to say.
Interesting. So we've got 1 win, 1 draw there. Holly, where are you taking this?
I'm going to have to go with 2-1 just because I want to try and be optimistic. I just think this is the game that, like we've touched on, is going to make or break our season, I feel, just because of the way we've been playing in terms of the league form. And I think in order to try and turn it around a bit, it's got to be a win. And I think Jose knows that, and I think the players know that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jose's drilled it into him, especially, and trying to pick up the momentum from that Europa League game as well. Just 2-1, I think it would be class.
Just 2-1. There's 2-2-1s and a 2-2 draw. Right then, Frankie. It's your time.
It's my time. I'm clinging on to two things. One is how the atmosphere is in your dressing room for these big games. In that all or nothing program, you saw Jose Mourinho trying to get in people's faces, going, "You've got to be," and he was sort of swearing again, "You've got to be ruthless. You've got to be." And players looked at him like he was off his head. But that he was right. You have got to have a bit of needle and you have got to have a bit of grit. So I'm hoping that dressing room is still like that. And Kane also in there, when he asked him to do the team talk, and all he barely says is effing this and it was just like, that ain't a leader. So I'm hoping Mark Noble can have a bit more of an effect and that dressing room can appreciate. And the fact that we've got those Czech boys and we've got Bowen who comes from the lower leagues and all that, I'm hoping we've got that a bit more understanding of what this means without the fans being there. So that's one thing that I hope can get us over the line. And then also Jose and his comments about, you're ahead of us now, but that will all change and you'll be ahead of us. That was motivation enough in itself. So I'm hoping that we've looked at that and thought, you know what, we're going to prove you wrong. For that reason, my head says 1-1. I do think it's going to be a tight game. I think David Moyes is going to come out to do a proper dirty job there. I think he's going to try and hit you on the break, keep really, really defensive. I still think you'll score, but I think we might nick one. So 1-1 is what my head feels. But you've always got to believe that your side is gonna do the job. And if we're going to do it, the only way that I can see us doing it is nicking a 1-0 out of you. So that's what I'm going to go with.
So this is.
I'm nervous.
Okay,
I'm very nervous.
I looked at it and I thought about it, and I've also put this out on record as well. I thought, yeah, we're gonna turn up tomorrow. It all does depend on the starting 11. As we've talked about from a Spurs perspective, I don't want to see certain players starting tomorrow. If I'm honest, I don't want to see Sanchez in that defense. I would like to see the combination of Dyer, possibly and Alderweireld, because again, experience-wise, that tells me that's probably the best. There's mistakes in Dyer. We know that. I think Jose trusts him more so than any other player. I think with the Portuguese connection and stuff like that, he's going to probably keep Ben Davies in, because if Reguilon isn't fit, so Ben Davies is going to keep his place. Right back for me, if Aurier is out, is probably likely to be Tanganga. The midfield's the important area. We need to have a midfield that has fighting qualities, but also an ability to play that ball forward. If we've got Sissoko and Højbjerg in that double pivot, that's a no-go for me, because we won't be able to control. I don't believe we'll be able to control the game. We need to have Ndombele alongside Højbjerg, and then it's who we play that in front, that number 10. Is he going to play someone like Dele Alli? Is he going to go with Lamela? Will Bell come back into the start? All these questions, and for me, when I see that start 11, will kind of give me influence. That being said, I still think we've got to go out and win this game. We've got to go and take the game to West Ham. I think it's in the players' minds that, you know, what happened last time was a bit embarrassing. Obviously a really good game, but, you know, not something that we want to happen again. 2-1, I'm going of Harry Kane scoring that winner. But I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet. But I'm gonna say 2-1 to Spurs. But I really don't know. I really don't know, if I'm honest with you. So yeah, we've got a couple of comments here. Sanchez, incredible defender from Adam. Thank you very much. Mr. Silver Fox. Come on, you Irons. You know, so it's going to be a good one. Ladies, gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed the show today. I've certainly enjoyed it. It's been a very nice one. It's been, as I said, it's not been as volatile as I was expecting it to be. We've had a couple of guests come from other teams, and they've been a little bit more volatile and winding us up. So thank you very much, Frankie, for not doing that. You could have crowed a lot more than you have done today. I believe you could have. And I've got a few mates who are West Ham fans, and they were all over me when you lot won that. When you came back and went 3-3. And now that you're in 5th place and we're down in 9th, yeah, I don't even like to go on WhatsApp sometimes.
It sounds so bad.
When I just said it like that, it does. It's terrible. Oh God. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Do you guys want to give and go to you, Frankie? Do you want to give another shout out for what you're doing, your channel, where you are, where people can find you?
Appreciate that. So at Isla's Army on Twitter, we had the £1 for Isla Day yesterday. She is going for a terrible time at the moment. She's in the UK, but we've got to get her to Spain as quickly as possible to get her some new treatment. So we're trying to raise as much money as possible. We're £20,000 in the month of February, but we do need to push that on. Every single round of treatment she has will cost £80,000. So that's just how difficult it's going to be for us, and how much that we've got to do and how much that we've got to raise. So if anyone can share, donate something, whether it be £1, whatever it may be, it makes all the difference. And we appreciate everyone's support so far, and I appreciate you for letting me give a plug to that on this channel as well. So thank you very much.
That's the minimum, you know what I mean? That's, you know, people, as Frankie said, go over to the channel, like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the rest of that sort of stuff. You know, we want to, you know, we this is all part of the fan thing. You know, it's cross, you know, we want to make sure that everybody's looked after in this sense, and it's really good for those sort of things to be said. And yeah, all our viewers, we hope that they'll go and contribute. Harley, where can people find you? You know, we've got your channel on YouTube, and it's really good. I like it. Watch a few shows on there. Yeah.
So literally you can find me on any platform at Holly Agenbart. I tried to keep it simple and keep everything the same, and then I realised I had a really complicated surname. So you can literally just find me on Twitter or YouTube, and I just kind of chat Tottenham basically. But thanks again for inviting me on. I've really enjoyed this, guys. Brilliant.
Like I said, if you guys, I know it's difficult because you've all got your own things to do. We'd love to have done the reaction show with you, because it might be emotional come tomorrow. And we've had some reaction shows where we've had some little mini meltdowns. So I'll leave that out there. We'll contact you both outside of this to see whether or not, but I know you're both busy people and got your own stuff to do. Mike, Darius, thank you guys very much. Cheers, Let's look forward to the game tomorrow.
I'll try.
Yeah, it's going to be one of them ones where we've got to try. You know, we want to win. They want to win. London derby, no fans in the stadium. I think that's a pity, because it really is a game which I think is going to be a bit spicy. But I'm sure that both managers will get both sets of teams up for this game, and let's hope it's a good one. Anyway, thank you all, and we'll go out with this. Take care.